inside the top 25 to keep your tournament alive and move into Championship Sunday. Day one leader, Justin Hamner. It was Hamner time. What a day he had on day number one. But moments ago, this just happened.
That's her. Stay on there, baby. Get up in here. Get up in here. Woo! Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you, girl. Thank you, Jesus. This is funner than what we was doing earlier.
Not sure if funner is a word, but I totally agree. Justin Hamner, I mean, the infectious excitement that he shows Davey Height, I mean, that's what fishing's all about. Not only just the Bassmaster Classic, but just fishing in general. That's why we all fell in love with it.
Look at Justin Hamner. I mean, leading the first day of the Bassmaster Classic, he's been able to regain that lead. He lost it a little bit this morning, but I must agree with him. It's fun to catch a big one fishing the Bassmaster Elite Series. But even if funner is not a word, it's a word at the Bassmaster Classic when you're leading. You're having funner.
Look at that, 37 pounds, 12 ounces. And Justin Hamner once again leading the Bassmaster Classic. An incredible, incredible tournament we got, but you got to keep your eye on Hank Cherry, obviously. But let's take it back to 2007.
Wow. I can remember those days.
Oh. Oh my God, come on, G. Get her back up. Come on, G string. Yeah! Yeah! Woo! You on it, baby! I got him! Woo! Yes! Yes! Woo! Look at the size of that fish! Oh my God! Yes! Give it here, dude! Don't worry about the damn show! Ah! Ah! Oh! Oh my God, what a bass. Oh my God, what a bass. Oh my God, what a bass, dude. Check out the size of that thing.
There he is, the incomparable G-Man, Gerald Swindle.
Yes!
And what an incredible Bassmaster memory. And really, sitting up here right now, I just have one song going through my mind. One of these things is not like the other ones. We've got a Bassmaster Classic champion, two-time angler. Well, we have 4 Angler of the Years between you guys, and I just moved the hole that makes the words. But it is moving day at the Bassmaster Classic, and man, the infectious excitement we see from an angler like Justin Hamner, that's why we fish.
Absolutely.
Justin Hamner, and in 2007, Gerald Swindle. Gerald Swindle's still doing it, by the way, but that was a special fish, a special time in your career, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. It was across the century belt that day, and that time was probably one of the biggest fish I'd ever caught. And it shows that, you know, you still love it. You know, I look back at that, and I kind of like, man, I sure did act a fool during that, you know. That's probably before I got on my medication, but, like, the excitement is so great in that. It's everything you dream of. And you realize once you get that key bite, like watching Hamner a minute ago, he knows that's the key bite. And that split second between when you touch that bass and when you know he's secure in the boat, that's like the longest moment of your life. But once it's in the boat and you know I'm one step closer to achieving my goals, man, it's a great feeling. You have to celebrate.
An incredible tournament we have here this week. And I asked Hamner, I called him last night after weighing, and I'm like, dude, you're leading the Bassmaster Classic? How did this happen? And he said, because I caught bigger bass than anybody else.
That was a short answer, no doubt about it. The thing that's really cool about him, he is at the point in his career, anybody would be excited about leading a Bassmaster Classic, but he has just really done well this year, getting off to a great start in the first 2 events and coming here, and he's just having fun.
Yeah, the momentum is so crazy in this sport because the first 2 tournaments he was strong. And he's like carried that momentum right in. And I think I've seen this guy beside me when momentum's on his side, dude. He seemed unstoppable. Like it was just, it's like it was in the cards for Davey Hite to win AOYs. I know the power of momentum, and that's what when I see Hamner, I'm like, his biggest chance to win is momentum. He's on him, but the momentum.
Yep. Talk to me about freedom. That's what he keeps saying to me. I feel free all of a sudden. I mean, obviously he had other jobs literally up till a year ago, but he said, I finally reached the point in my career where I've got a little breathing room. I know that this is all I do.
Right.
Talk to me about how important that freedom is.
It's the most important thing an angler can have, because once you know you have enough income through sponsors to solely focus on fishing, it's different. This guy right here was ex-military, delivered drinks, I think. I mean, this guy worked his way out of it. So once you know that job's behind you and your 100% focus is the next tournament, it's very freeing. And that statement could be as much as from where his financial status was to now, or where he's at mentally on the water. And in this tournament, when you jump out to a great lead like did, he is free. He's not struggling about where the cut line is or am I going to have to work the show. He's simply, there's something about a great start leads to the momentum carrying through the Classic. And now he's not worried about anything but how much can I put on him today.
Yeah, and another thing, and talk to this point too, Gerald, because you lived through it. And Ronnie likes to talk about the young anglers coming in our sport. There's always been young anglers, but it seems like now they're 18 and 19-year-olds where, 20 years ago they were 20 and 22 or 3-year-olds. But there's also a point in your life, a point in your career where you're really gaining momentum. You're learning how to fish. You're becoming a better fisherman. You're getting it. You're feeling confident around these anglers before you have all these commitments with family and with sponsors and those sort of things. And to find that line in there like he has right now is great. And to be able to hold on to it like you have for your career, you can name off the bigger names. My gosh, Rick Clunn, almost fishing his 500th tournament, 50 years of doing it. There's a fine line to be able to do that.
Fine line of balance between where your most mental health is the best, where you're trying to do too much, where the finances are better, where you can simply relax, where your family's all in line. It just seems like at that time in your life, whatever age it is, it may be 21 now. For me, it was 28. When everything just fell in place and I woke up every morning and looked in the mirror and I didn't question what I was supposed to be doing. I knew when I looked in the mirror, this is your dream. This is what you're going to do. And to have that doubt go away was huge for me. There was no looking back. My brother still asks. He said, you cut the hammer handle out when you come back after you won Beaver Lake. He said, you made a point to go to work, pick the hammer up and cut the handle out as a symbol to myself to say I'm never coming back. I've worked through this, and now I'm free. So I see it, man. And I look at some of the stuff that KVD's done, and people's like, man, his track record's impressive. I said, bro, it ain't his track record that impresses me. It's his work ethic behind his track record. Because I was like, I try to outwork that cat, and I've been out here hustling, but I say he maintained great credentials with a heavy schedule. Davey did the same thing. When you win a Classic and you win an AOY, your schedule doubles and triples, and the obligations begin to be greater, and you owe it to the sport. You're a leader of the sport at that time, whether you like it or not. Yeah. So you have to make those small changes and still be able to work on your game. And when I see these younger guys, I just admire the freedom. They're not quite at that stage where they're overwhelmed, but they're at that stage where they're hungry and they're free.
I see a sign over your shoulder saying it's Hamner time, and it definitely is. But what it also is, time to get caught up with our Toyota midday report. And we got lots to report, starting with Adam Rasmussen from Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah, no surprise to see him doing good here because he's had a great start, a young Bassmaster career. He had a win on Wheeler Lake. He had a win in the Nations Tournament on Lake Eufaula back during the fall when conditions were really, really tough. So to see him get off to a good start, not a big surprise. It was a little surprising when I found out what he caught him on yesterday. A spinnerbait, most of his fish, and there's some great spinnerbait fishermen, one being Jason Christie, that did not have the day he was hoping to have yesterday. Been a little slower for Adam this morning, but he's been able to pick up a few fish. One thing to keep in mind, he did not really get started yesterday until he caught a 5-pounder about 11 o'clock.
A calm, cool cat and a former Rookie of the Year, Jay Shakurat, currently in 8th place with 28 pounds, 5 ounces. Swindle, you fish against him. I mean, he's unflappable.
He is, dude. The guy's tough. I can't pronounce his last name, but I can tell you one thing. I'm just going to call him old Bass Snatcher because this kid has ice in his veins, and he has proved that he can do it shallow or deep, live scoping, or just fishing. He is going to be a force in this tournament.
Ice in his veins is very well put. Last year when he won Rookie of the Year, but the tournament tournament on the St. Lawrence River there. He was out on Lake Ontario over in good old Chameau Bay. For him to be as calm as he was, just taking it easy, catching 100 pounds of smallmouth bass, which had never been done again before then. Absolutely incredible. Last year, a lot of people forgot about it. He was right in the hunt up until the last hour of the tournament last year in the Bassmaster Classic, just staying right there in touch. Not a big surprise to see him here again today.
Yeah.
One of the hottest pros in the last 5 years. 4 Bassmaster wins, the 3rd biggest bag in Bassmaster history. Lee Livesey, the self-professed people's champ. He says he does it for the people, wants to win the trophy and take it to the crowd.
Hey, and I believe him. I've grown to know Lee over the last few years. And he really, the money, he was making a good living fishing for a living, guiding, and, in Texas, a lot of it on Lake Fork. But he truly just wants to be out here and live his dream. Sure, the money is required to be able to be out here, but he truly loves the people and to have a good time and to be able to pursue his dream.
He's a fan favorite. I got a lot of respect for this guy. He's one of the first guys I got to know when I came back was Lee Livesey, and I really admire this guy.
An 8-time Classic qualifier, Brandon Card. A little under the weather this week, but still catching bass.
Big move today for Brandon Carr, moving all the way up to 3rd place unofficially with 31 pounds, 11 ounces. Fishing a crankbait primarily on the bluff banks. There's one with a little flatter look to it, but a lot of them, the boat ramp, absolutely. That one a little flatter, but most of his fish this morning coming off those bluff-type banks, cranking there again. A lot of other guys trying to do that and not able to make it work out for him.
Mercer, this is my guy. I said, hook the truck to the Cherry truck, boys. I'm going Hank Cherry all in. This guy's 1-2. He's on a solid bite. He's catching more 3-pounders than anybody in the field, and he knows what it's like. And I just got a gut feeling that the Cherry truck could ride the arena.
Does it seem so similar to you, Gerald, as the Guntersville Classic?
Yes.
He started out with a jig and a vibrating jig, ended up really catching his heavyweight the final day on the jerkbait. He told us yesterday, hey, I got that. I'm just hoping I can save it until Sunday. And currently sitting in second place, he can save it till Sunday.
This is in Hank Cherry's wheelhouse. So people, if you're around, you better watch out for this man right here.
Came close to winning his first Classic here and narrowly missed that. But this guy is atop the leaderboard. Justin Hamner was cutting lawns a year ago. Yes. Not anymore. He is cutting the field down.
He is the trimmer. Justin the Trimmer Hamner right here. This guy has made a move. Remarkable young angler from Alabama. Shallow, deep, great live scoper, great jerkbait fisherman. Can do it all. And I think he's proven to the world that he has what it takes to try to win the Bassmasters Classic.
It's fun to watch him have fun because he's been hanging out with and rooming with Patrick Walters for a long time, seeing Patrick have so much success, and they're both great fishermen. A lot of people you talk to will say you can flip a coin which one's a better fisherman, but Patrick Walters has had more success than Justin, but it looks like Justin has certainly got all wheels on the ground now. They've got
coming
traction.
back. He's coming back. That is a giant.
Well, I mean, this might be a little bit off-putting, but Justin explained to me that his dad, when he gets nervous, he spends a lot of time in the restroom. So Mr. Hamner's probably not watching maybe watching on his cell phone.
I'll hook Mr. Hamner up with some dude wipes, and we'll get him out there on the expo floor just in case Hamner takes that trophy home. I'll be there with a bucket of wipes. We celebrating. Me and Mercer and Davey want to celebrate with whoever wins. We're pulling for all of you.
That's right.
It's hard to bet against Hamner, though.
Yeah. He's infectious. I mean, he really is. You can't help but smile and
I see a name down there at number 6 spot, that Pollinet guy. We better watch out for him.
I like a good jerkbait bite too, though.
Hamner and Cherry side by side right now. Why is Hank Cherry the Bassmaster Classic? Why is he so, this event, if you look at his track record, it's amazing.
I think Card's kind of proved that in the last couple of years. Card's, I think both of these guys are seeing their strength is a certain type of cold water fishing. And when it falls in that wheelhouse, I don't think people on fantasy fishing even realize that. There's certain water temperatures in structure and the way lakes lay out a guy fishes well at. I think that's happened for Card, and I think it's happened for Hank here. This is a lot like a Guntersville style. He's very comfortable, and he's just right at home. Both of those guys are standing so poised, like when you see their body posture, you can tell they're in control of the day. The day is not controlling them.
One thing about Hank Cherry that I noticed early on in his Elite Series career, For normal tournaments, he doesn't practice very long.
No.
He's not a daylight to dark kind of guy. And I talked to him about it. Once I got to know him, like his second year, I got to know him well enough to ask him questions like that, because some people might
Be offended.
Be offended that you say that. But he's like, no, I don't need to overthink it. I don't need to make it complicated. I mean, he'd be back in from practice at 1:30, 2 o'clock, and I could never dream of doing that, because I know my limitations. I need all the time I can get, and I need to work hard. But for the Classic, I think he might actually practice all day long.
Whenever it's like the bigger brush piles, it seems like that's all like the drum and carp will be like filling it up.
How timely is this tournament? Really, when you know, let's be honest. You go on any chat board, any social media for the last 2 weeks, everybody has talked about how it's all scoping. And now this is honestly one of the most old school, traditional bass fishing events we've seen in quite a long time.
It is. And still mixed with some scoping. It's just different than what the fans are used to seeing. The guys are not out in the middle chasing. But if you'll notice, each one of them guys keeps staring down, and they're picking their targets out, but they've got some old school baits mixed in. And, you know, Hank Cherry just caught one on a chatterbait and moving around. You see guys with a jig. So it's good to see the old school lures used in the new era, you know.
Yep, you're exactly right, Gerald. They're all using their electronics, but they're using those old school lures, and some of them just using it to pick those targets. Justin Hamner really the only one that's more of the, I'm going to say, new era using the electronics and using that forward facing. But it is so surprising to me. Last year when Gussie won the Classic, he had already won the Elite there and shown a lot of people, hey, there's some 18-inch smallmouth in this area, and you can catch them using electronics. And he went back and did it again, and those guys that are so good at it weren't able to duplicate what he did. And to have Koya, to have Taku, to have Gussie, to have Patrick Walters, seeing Koya throw a spinnerbait yesterday and seeing him fish boat docks, it's like he just could not figure out what Justin Hamner has been able to figure out.
And it could be area specific. You know, these guys, we know in the spring in some of these lakes, it is area specific. Certain creeks turn on. If you're at Gunnersville, you kind of know in the early spring, Browns Creek's going to play. You know, there's other creeks, Town Creek, for instance, it's never that big of a player early. So these guys could have got in an area, and live scope, it seems like they've got it all dialed in. It just could be a better area, have better bait. More. And I heard Ben Milliken make a comment that there was more bass in the area than he fished. Like he had figured it out. This area is alive with bass and not drum and carp. And them guys, you know, once you get in the right area and then you settle in, like as we're seeing these guys doing, and what I see good here, they're all moving pretty slow. Compared to our first two tournaments where guys are just flying up and down, like ripping through the timber looking, these guys they're on the hunt. I mean, they are stalking around real slow, matching the water temperature. Hank Cherry's staying in a lot of protected areas.
That's one thing that Justin Hamner said yesterday that he felt like, because I always ask him, like, how did you catch him and Patrick didn't? And he's like, I fish slower.
Yeah.
Let's make a quick move to Brandon Card, and not just Brandon Card, joined by Robbie Floyd chasing down the story.
Same thing. When I'm here and he's right there, we are with Brandon Carr, because I've literally been in his back pocket for the past hour, and he's done well while I've been here. I saw him catch some small fish on the bluffs, as you guys were talking about a moment ago. But then you saw that difference. And like, hey, isn't he at a boat ramp? Yep, sure enough. He made a move from the bluffs and the points and went to this one particular boat ramp that ran out into the water. And it was either the first, second, third cast. He caught one, and it was a good one, almost 4 pounds. I think it was 312 to be exact. But he's got a small fish of 2 pounds in the live well, needs to get rid of that one. But he's been fishing pretty quick, pretty fast, throwing the crankbait for most of the day. Saw him throw a spinnerbait in one particular moment for just a second, but now he's dropped those two and has picked up the jig. So I'm thinking he's starting to hit all these laydowns, knowing that he needs that one big fish to really propel him on this day, on a very good day for Brandon Card.
So, Robbie, speak more to that about the speed that he's fishing, because he's in a great position right now, but earlier in the day, he was that guy that had to be thinking about, I might be working the expo tomorrow. I could get cut, only 25 fish tomorrow. You were with him early on today. Had he settled down and was fishing slow then, or has he really just started to do it after he got a good one or two in the boat?
No, I think he's fishing pretty methodical, and he never really let go of that crankbait. I even asked him, I said, are you using the same crankbait all the entire time. He goes, no, when I get into some super shallow stuff, I'll go one, a little less depth. But for the most part, he just cranked the entire time, and he was having success. Even that one that he went from a bluff wall where it was, you look and it's just straight down. He went from a bluff wall throwing a crankbait to a gradual drop off of the boat ramp, catching them with the crankbait. So it had nothing to do with it being steep or flat. You could tell he had confidence in that particular crankbait.
Robbie, I got a question for you. How much are you seeing him use his C brakes or his brakes off of his power poles or talons? I see he's got his trolling motors on there. Are you seeing him use it for boat control a lot?
I have seen him with them, partially down and doing a little bit. So, that's a good point, G. And I didn't even really think much of it. At times I was thinking, well, maybe he forgot to pull them back up. But I think you're right, because he will go back there and make some adjustments. Oh, it looked like he just got a strike right there.
Robbie, have you...
This particular area of the lake's not far from a point in the flat that he was at, but this particular area has a ton of laydowns and boat docks. And I asked him earlier, you talk about his strategy, he would hit those areas, along those bluff walls, and there would be boat docks right there, just like this, except a bluff. I said, are you taking any time with those docks at all? He said, no, not at all. I'm not even looking at them. I'm just hitting these walls.
Well, Davey, I'm just going to let you know that Robbie approached me out on the floor yesterday and said, hey, G, how did you do today? And he laughed about it. Yeah, he thinks that's funny because I wasn't out there, and that's a common aspect.
I'm glad you brought this up, G.
So, the next time I see Tommy Sanders, we're going to be working on a plot for you with that microphone.
Hey, but G, when I said that, I love me some G, man. I mean, you're my guy, right? So
you love
I
kicking
said that
him, too.
on you because I know how much it drives you. I know how much it drives you. I even told Davey that. I said, I told G that, and he looked at me, and he wasn't so happy. Yeah. But that's how much I love you, because I know that I can say that because it inspires you to be back next year.
It is motivation. I'm telling you, man, when you see the people in the show, it does rekindle that fire and want to be out there, because it's the greatest event in the world. I fished a bunch of them, and I want to be back. And you make a few mistakes last year, you think about it, you correct it, you learn more about fishing, you become a better fisherman, you come back, you regroup. I want to be at Ray Roberts, man. I want my shot.
I know you got a hair question for Robbie.
Here's the deal. Yesterday I made fun of him because, he does have some spectacular hair. It's 90% of his career, let's be honest. Yeah. And yesterday he had a hat on. Well, I saw him at takeoff. Spectacular, gelled up, ready, from a Pert Plus commercial, basically. And now he's all, looking like Little Red Riding Hood out there.
He went from just for men to just for maybe robbing a bank. I don't know.
Yeah. It was chilly out here this morning, and this I actually bought at Bass Pro Shops when we were there for the media day. So I'm still looking good with my stuff. I got my jockey outerwear on, but y'all have given me so much flack for my hair. I'm just not going to show it to you anymore.
Well, it is the gift that keeps on giving. From one guy with great hair. Thank you very much, Robbie Floyd. We head over to another guy with great hair and fur coats. Yeah,
great hair.
Put that on me yesterday on stage.
Did you
I'm
feel
telling
sexy?
You, I instantly felt like Jon Snow. I really felt like I could take over the world. I did have to spit out hair balls for about the next 4 angles.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
But Matt Robertson, all jokes aside, yesterday, day number 1, he's a contender in this event.
Always. Guy looks like he's fishing a little further down the lake than everybody else does.
He is. He's stayed in that creek more than anyone else that far down.
Looks like he's doing a little scoping and jerking. Oh, he hooked up.
Come on, baby.
Uh-oh. That come on, baby's a telltale sign it feels big for him. Oh, yeah.
Well, I said he's big. Well, he is big. I ain't even got 2 fish. I'll take him.
He caught one on his first cast this morning.
I seen that.
Not caught one since.
And he said this may not be a good thing.
The one he caught was a 4, right?
Yeah.
Well, it was a 5, but he called it a 4.
Right.
Promise. That's what's following it. Big one. I hope he measures.
So I'll just say, talking to him yesterday afternoon after having a good start in the first day, on the first day of the Bassmaster class, he'd already allotted how much money he was going to spend on the party Sunday night.
Yes.
That's planning ahead. That's having confidence.
What I like about him is when I talk to him, it's like I'm going to pave my driveway to my trailer, and I'm going to have a great party if I win this. The
awesome.
Guy's spending the money like he wants to spend it.
Well, the answer is how much money is he going to spend? All of it.
Yes.
All of
there it is, the classic Robertson move right there. Smash and grab.
I'm going to tell you one thing. That jacket You get close to that jacket.
It's
There's a power that comes from it. There is a power, and when he put that on me, I'm telling you, I felt instantly powerful. It has a musk. Let's just
that
say.
buffalo was rutting.
Yes.
Bear, buffalo, whatever it was.
I'm going to say this. I love him for this sport. I mean, we've talked about what you do. We've talked about Ben Milliken a lot. We've talked about Matt. Personalities are like that is truly what grows this sport.
He's a very smart guy. People think that he's just acting crazy, but he thinks a lot about what he's doing. He's a great marketing guy. A lot of people love him. You know, you'll have a few people that's like, I don't know if I like that. Hey, not everybody likes eggs and bacon, you know. But Matt Robinson is good for the sport, and he has proved to me without a shadow of a doubt he's more than long hair and a flare. This guy is a fish catching machine.
Oh, yeah. He's absolutely a good fisherman.
If you don't like bacon, I don't trust you. Who doesn't like bacon, really? Now over to John Cox, another guy who is an absolute character and a joy to watch.
Smiles.
Keeps it simple. Keeps it close to the bank. This time of year, he's going to be around a bridge and throwing a crankbait.
Oh, stay on, baby. Stay on. Stay on. Come on, I know it's cold. I know it's cold, but you got to stay on. You got to stay on. Nah, he might make it, right? I think he might. God, look how fat they are. Gosh, we just got to get him to move in. Gosh, if he wasn't so fatty, hopefully he's long enough.
Yes, he's measuring the bass on the cooler.
Oh, yeah, that's number 3.
Who needs a bump board?
When you got the igloo.
Between Gutsy's like 27-inch musky measuring board and John Cox measuring on the top of a cooler.
Oh, man. It takes all types, man. And that's why I love watching it. It takes
multi-tool device. I mean, it measures. It's probably got a drink holder there. I mean, a lot of things. I mean, speaking of a lot of things, Gerald Swindle, you are a lot of things, but one of those is a joy to have on the stage. You need to get in the Classic because I missed you up there. But it's awesome to have you here.
I miss working with you guys. The best time to see Davey Hyde is when he's following my Phoenix boat around on the water. That means you're catching them. And I've enjoyed seeing the fans, and this is a great spot to be to do a lot for your sponsors. And I tell all the anglers, if you don't make the Classic and you don't come work it, you're not doing your sponsors justice. So as much motivation as this is as much fun as it is. It's great to be on the set with you guys. Enjoy it, man.
Thank you, brother.
Always. Dave, love you.
Love you too.
Stenching
awesome
off.
I love
the buffalo rut.
Oh, it is.
You just can't get that smell out of it.
A powerful musk. A very powerful musk. Atop the leaderboard, Justin Hamner with 37 pounds, 12 ounces. But as Gerald Swindle says, look out for some cherry bombs here at the Bassmaster Classic. Give me a name that isn't in the top 3. One of you two, go real quick. 1, 2, no.
Christy.
No. Christy? Predictable.
I'm gonna say keep your eye on Pollock and Christie. You know,
There's such softball answers. I mean, I thought you would give us something. I'm getting my musky jacket.